Here's a question, and it might sound facetious, but I don't mean it that way. What is the point of YouTube? Is the point of YouTube to be a social media platform? Is it to be an open video platform upon which anyone can participate? You know, what is the point of YouTube? I think it started out as kind of more of an experiment to see if you could host mass access video online and have people create vlogs in much the same way as they were creating blogs. Then it became more of a social media platform. Old bees amongst you will remember that you used to be able to post a video response to someone so that videos formed a more natural conversation. Of course, people exploited that. There were the reply girls, which you may remember, and people were worried that this was leading to harassment or whatever else, in much the same way as trolling and flaming would take place on message boards. But it was kind of understood that that was the nature of the medium, and in some ways they were incentivizing that behavior. That's gone away, but it hasn't stopped people making response videos, because often people make arguments or say things that you want to pick apart, but that has increasingly been characterized as harassment, disagreement, vociferous disagreement, even fairly calm disagreement, because somehow posting a link to the video that you're replying to is directing hate or something towards them. So if it's not that anymore, then they kind of opened up the monetization to everybody. You became YouTube partners, and popular content became popular and made money directly from YouTube to the extent that people could make a living on the platform. So is that what it is? Is it a massive public network that anyone can broadcast on? Well, no, apparently not, because as we've seen, censorship has crept in over time, and this latest adpocalypse is just the latest incarnation of that. And every time that comes around, the censorship ratchets up. What's acceptable or not acceptable shifts and changes, and because even those of us who do this is like a side gig or whatever, or for other reasons than money, you know, it's nice to get a little bit of compensation, even if it's just a couple of bucks, for the time and effort that we put in. But that has been the route by which most, but not all, of the censorship has come in. Demonetization, financial pressure and threats upon people to change the way that they express themselves, and so on. You watch any of Tim Pool's fairly recent videos, and you see him censoring himself, using different words, even when he's reporting directly on what someone else has said. The algorithms that they're using to run the censorship just can't cope with that. And the position of the advertisers is peculiar, and the position of the people going after the advertisers is peculiar. Now, I did actually study communications, only to A level, but still, and it was very useful for a Gen Xer, because we were already kind of suspicious of advertising. But I learned how to recognize why adverts were placed where they were, what target demographics and so on were, and all of that. So you can tell a lot about what the kind of capitalist system thinks of you by watching your favourite shows and noting what's advertised in the advertisement breaks. This was before the internet really kind of hugely took off, of course, but I think the same holds true to an extent. But there's no real, unless there's a sponsorship, right? There is no real direct link between a company and the content of a show, or a company and the content of a YouTube channel. Now, if someone's directly racist or calls for violence or whatever, I can see why you wouldn't want your advertising there, because you don't want to fund that kind of activity and that kind of hate. But otherwise, this whole idea that a company is tainted by the video its advertising appears next to, or vice versa, quite a lot of YouTubers get upset, hypocritically in my opinion, over what adverts appear with their videos. A lot of atheist channels end up with a lot of religious advertising in front of them and so on. Yeah, let it happen. I don't see the problem, other than it's stupid, but you can't have it one way. I don't think anyone who is being honest associates, the product being advertised with the show, or the show with the product being advertised. And if your adverts are showing up next to this content and you've targeted according to demography or topic, that's where your audience is. And fascists drink cola too, or Fanta. Look up that story. That's fascinating. And yet that's the line of attack. Are you aware that your product is being associated with X mildly controversial opinion? Oh no, we're not. We must pull all our advertising from YouTube. And then YouTube knee-jerk reacts to all this, and everyone gets hurt. In this latest round, it's not just extremists getting hurt, it's history teachers, people uploading archival footage from World War II. And this always happens. And it doesn't just affect conservatives or people on the right. A lot of independent media outlets on the left are being hit this time around as well. LGBT content gets hit. I have some plugins and things that help me optimize the search engine value of my videos when I put them up. And I did that recent video on Pride, and included gay, trans, lesbian, and things in the keywords, and my plugins all flagged those up as being demonetizable, and lo and behold, the video was indeed demonetized. So perfectly legitimate historical comment, or things that we might perceive of as being progressive or on the left, they get swept up in the bag as well for family friendly. But then what is the point of YouTube? If the standards by which they censor, by which they control, by which they downlist and delist content is more stringent, more absurd, more stupid and puritanical and family fun than broadcast television, cable television, what is the point of you? We have enough competitors in the streaming space and so on. YouTube's unique selling point is that it's essentially public access, whereas things like Netflix and so on aren't, right? So the more you erode that USP, the more ground you lose, the more potential you lose. And the advertisers, who seem to care so much when it comes to YouTube, don't care when it comes to mainstream television. You watch the news, right? Whether it's Fox or CNN or the BBC or ABC or CNBC, or whatever it might be, right? They cover tragic events. They talk about wars and violence. They often show clips that can be considered distressing, right? And yet their weather updates still sponsored by someone. They're still advertising if that news channel happens to have breaks and so on. And nobody loses their minds over that, right? And then there's fictional content, shows which include rape and torture and dismembered bodies and forensic analysis and all kinds of horrendous stuff, and heaven forfend nudity. And again, no issue. There's historical programs and pseudo-historical programs. The History Channel is aptly retitled the Hitler Channel. They have content of fascistic regimes of the 20th century and so on. Still have advertising, still have sponsors, and no problem. Nobody makes a peep. So what is the point of YouTube if it's more restrictive than that? Clicking on a video is consent to the content of that video. you're supposed to, I think you have to be 13 or something, is it to access YouTube? I'm not actually entirely sure. I guess parents are in control of the kiddies unboxing channels and so on, but someone has to log in who's a bit more responsible. And if not, why not add an age verification for anything other than kids content? That's preferable to censorship. Why shouldn't you have nudity and controversial topics and so on, provided you can limit it to those of age? So again, this all circles back around to what is the point of YouTube? What is its unique selling point? Why are they undermining that? Why do advertisers give a shit? None of it makes any sense, and there is little to no point to YouTube if it's trying to emulate the old media, if it's trying to elevate the old media, and if it forgets that USP, which is that it's public access and that anybody, whether they're a crank or they have talent or they're just like a car crash in slow motion like Logan Paul, whatever, that's what's popular. Advertisers want to put their product in front of eyeballs. That's where the eyeballs are, and anybody used to be able to rise or fall on YouTube by their merits. So what is the point? What is the point of you?
Now, Bob, consider this next question very carefully. What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.